Israel has attacked Spain. I've got the evidence to prove that to you. Now, before we get there, let me put it in context for you, the situation. So we're supposed to believe that this Spanish enclave, which is damn near in Morocco, was suddenly invaded by 60,000 people in a coordinated assault. It's a mass migrant crisis where 60,000 of them, approximately, even more, just decided to all at once go to a certain location in one place in one time when the Moroccan police and border guards, in addition to the Spanish border guards for some reason, just decided to not only take it easy that day, but to encourage for the invasion to happen. There's plenty of that. There's plenty of evidence to prove that. But before I get to the evidence, let me just set up it a little bit more. So I want you to imagine this scenario. I want you to invite 10 of your friends to an evening. You'd be lucky if 8 of them make it. Today, in this day and age, no one can show up to their commitments, let alone if it's, optional. If it's an optional gathering, you're going to be lucky if you get 60% of the people showing up. The hell does 60,000 people? That's a sports. That's an Olympic stadium full of people without gaps. Soccer teams celebrate when they have 40,000 people show up to an event, and that's usually like an important final. 60,000 people, men, deciding, coordinating at once, and the police not putting their guard up, but instead saying, go. This is very similar to a certain event. It's a certain event. I believe it was in October. Right, it was in October, and I think it happened in the border of Gaza. A certain day in October where a group of people decided to attack a certain border where the guards happened to, take their day off for some reason, and, instead of guarding the most threat-bearing area, they decided to leave and let the invasion take place, I believe, in Israel in October of 2024. A certain event happened. This one reminds me of it. How the hell did 60,000 Moroccans invade Spain? Well, there's one thing for sure. I don't think it's up for debate. It's fairly agreed upon by every commentator and newspaper out there that the Moroccan government let it kind of happen. Not only did they let it happen, they encouraged it. No, the Moroccan government did it. Let's be honest, the king did it. Morocco is a monarchy, by the way, for those who didn't know. It's one of the few places in the world left. They have a monarchy. Not only is their king a good, it's a great guy. I'd like to visit Marrakesh one day. I'm sorry, but so they have that king, and it's a monarchy. So this monarchy, which means it's one government, right? So there's one guy making the decisions. So this guy, by the way, the Moroccan military police, their establishment's fairly well set up. Like, they're equipped, they're trained. IDF trains them. The Moroccans are trained by the IDF. They just signed an agreement. IDF and Israel provide for their training and equipment. They give them equipment. They give them training. They give them drones. Israel and Morocco are very much in bed. There's plenty of evidence showing that. They make it public. In fact, Morocco is often referred to as the Israel of Africa. Not only the stunts they pulled in the Africa Cup for soccer, because everyone knows Senegal really won that. But let's put sports to aside. Morocco is usually a pariah in political events and social events, in diplomatic efforts within Africa. They're usually the one who's causing problems. They have a problem with the Sahrawi people. I think most Africans support the Sahrawi people, but Morocco doesn't. They have that, again, Israeli-like attitude of, this is our map, not your map. Let's hate these indigenous peoples for some reason. Also an interesting fact, I believe a significant portion of Israel is of Moroccan descent. So there was a lot of, that's literally the most common origin of the Sephardic Jews, which are the second most common ethnic group in Israel. They're mostly of Moroccan descent. I believe Maimonides is a Moroccan Jew. Very important. These are very important figures for Israel and Judaism in general. Morocco is a very important place for the Jewish religion and Israeli people. So this relationship is not only thousands of years old, it's also very modern. I believe Morocco was one of the first countries, if not the first country, first Muslim and Arab country to support Israel and start the Abrahamic Accords. I believe Morocco was the first one to do that. So this relationship is very, very deep. And when you have the idea of coordinating with the Moroccan military, you best believe that the intelligence is involved. So this coordination is this tactics exchanging, this information exchanging is really not far-fetched. In fact, it's more than likely. So this is a proper context that we're talking about. So Morocco and Israel have a ironclad relationship. And they have, both of them have a tense relationship with Spain. Morocco and Spain obviously have that problem with border disputes. Israel and Spain have that problem because Spain is the only significant Western power to really take the anti-Zionist stance. It seems like every Spanish celebrity is pro-Palestine. In addition, Pedro Sanchez is doing a fantastic job as the leader of the country in encouraging people to stand up against the Palestinian genocide. So, obviously, Israel's annoyed. Israel's very much annoyed with that. So, did Israel directly attack Spain? Yes and no. I would say, did it show Morocco a couple of tricks to do that? I believe so. Or did it? I think there is some Mossad involvement. I want to say Israel attacked Spain because it sounds cooler. It sounds more to get your attention and it's stronger. But I believe this is the tactic that Mossad developed. I call it the old barbarians at the gates. This is an old diplomatic trick. This is a trick that, was used in ancient times when borders between empires and barbarians weren't settled. And barbarians could go up, for example, the Germanic barbarians would go up to Rome and say, listen, pay me money, or I will protect your border against all these other Germanic people, meaning his own people. And if, the emperor didn't pay, then they would invade. En masse, in one location, coordinated at one time, right? But they did this so often that Rome ended up giving them tribute. They still wanted more money, and they invaded. Ostrogoths, Visigoths, look it up. The second evidence I have for this is the whole notion, the whole Mossad-backed, Islamophobic, Arabophobic agenda. It's the whole thing, or even racist agenda, straight up say racist, because it's all the notion of, Europeans are here, we're innocent, and there's brown, black, and Muslim people coming to destroy everything we possess. Look at Israel, they're doing the same there. Look at Tommy Robertson, his Stone and Coke, telling us that this is the reality of the world. This is the Mossad-backed campaign. It fits that scenario a little too much. It's too convenient. It's too convenient. The timing is too convenient. It's not natural. Real people, real migrants, real illegal border crossers, what do? They sneak in the middle of the night from one end of, the coast to another at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning when no one can see anything. And they do it in a very sneaky way. 60,000 people don't just cross a border in the middle of the day where the border guards are pushing them to go across, okay? These things don't happen. You have to, look at the trail. Why does it happen? Why is it happening now? Why is it happening in this time period? What agenda is this serving? Why is the Moroccan king letting this happen? What does Morocco gain from this? Am I confusing causation with correlation? Perhaps. But that's not what the Spanish intelligence thinks, or the Spanish commentators, or the politicians, or even the Chinese intelligence. Because very credible Chinese sources have also suggested that Israel was behind the Ceuta incident. Because Israel likes to celebrate things, or are the first ones to speak on issues that they seem to get alleged to be tied in with. It's very strange, isn't it? Very strange. When this incident happened, it was an Israeli diplomat that first broke out the news and, said, haha, look at Spain suffering. When Charlie Kirk died, it was Netanyahu, for some reason, the prime minister of a foreign government, stating how sad he was about the passing of Charlie Kirk. Because this American guy who used to debate in college campuses is somehow relevant enough for the Israeli prime minister to have, to give his condolences on his death. These are a few things that just seem to be weirdly correlating and similar. And, a border incident happens again where the border guards and the government security just decides to, not be there in one place, in one time, in 1 hour. These are just things you have to ask. What does Morocco gain from this incident? Besides a bad image because it can't protect its own borders. Bad relations with Spain, and who has something to gain from it? These are just questions you have to ask. When there's a murder on the scene, you have to ask who is involved, and 90% of the time, someone has a financial incentive, and it was someone within the family. So, who has an incentive to gain from this Ceuta incident? These are the questions you have to ask. But at the end of the day, I think Spain's idiosyncratic culture, with its anti-capitalist background, in addition to its Catholic heritage, provides a formidable obstacle for Israel. Israel had to get back at her in some way, shape, or form. Bada bima, bada boom. They used their proxy, which is Morocco. I think it's a puzzle piece, and it's fairly easy to solve. Correct me if I'm wrong.